After my last pepper plant video blew up, after hours of reading every single comment, I found something shocking. Almost every gardener whose peppers are stunted are making the exact same fatal mistake. It's not what you think, but the fix is incredibly simple. The mistake is born from good intentions. You see a struggling plant and you want to help it, but that help is often the fatal blow. So in this video, I'm going to show you the #1 mistake, explain why it's so deadly, and give you the simple fix to save your pepper plants and your harvest. It all starts with a frustration that we've all felt. You did everything right, you started your seeds indoors, you babied them for weeks, and you waited until the last frost was gone, and you planted your precious little seedlings out into the garden. And then, nothing. They just sat there. Days turned into weeks, and your tiny little pepper plants are still tiny. The leaves might look a little pale, a little droopy, and mostly they just refuse to grow. This is the moment where it all goes wrong. The #1 mistake, the single most common reason why your peppers are failing, you're overwatering them to try and fix the problem. Let me say that again. You see your sad, wilted, stunted pepper plant, and your first instinct, our first instinct as gardeners, is to give it a drink. I mean, it looks thirsty, right? So you give it a good long soak, and the next day, it looks the same, maybe even a little worse. So you start to water it again, and by doing that, you're literally drowning your plant. You're suffocating the very engine that drives its growth. So let's talk about science here, because it's really critical to understand. Think of your plant's roots as its lungs. I know it's strange since they're buried. They don't just suck up the water. They also have to breathe. They inhale oxygen from tiny little air pockets in the soil. When the soil gets completely saturated, it's a perpetual wet bog. It's like filling those lungs up with water. All those air pockets vanish. The roots, which are already stressed, can no longer get the oxygen. They can't function. They stop searching for nutrients and they start to actually shut down. They begin to rot. This creates a cruel, ironic cycle. As the roots rot from being too wet, they get even worse at absorbing water. This makes the plant above ground look wilted and droopy. That's the exact same signs of a dying plant that looks like it's thirsty. It's like seeing someone who is choking and thinking they're thirsty, so you're just going to keep trying to give them a drink. You're trying to solve a suffocation problem by adding more of the one thing that's actually causing it. This mistake is almost always triggered by a completely separate issue, and that's what we talked about before: temperature. Peppers are tropical plants. They hate being cold. We gardeners get eager and plant them out as soon as the daytime temperature feels warm, right after that last frost. But we forget the most important number: the nighttime temperatures. If your temperatures at night are consistently dipping below 55 degrees Fahrenheit or 13 Celsius, the plant goes into a state of hibernation. Its growth slows, its ability to function correctly is actually reduced. Its entire metabolic engine is powered down. So the plant is stunted because it's in a cold-induced coma. You see it stunted and you douse it with water. It's just like taking a hibernating animal and throwing it into a freezing lake. That is a fatal sequence of events that I saw over and over in the comments on the last video. The combination of planting in cold soil followed by the panic watering is the true #1 mistake. So how do we fix this? And even better, how do we prevent it from ever happening again? The solution is beautifully simple, but it requires you to fight your instincts. First, if you have a stunted pepper plant you think you've overwatered, just stop watering it right now. Don't give it another drop until you do this simple test. Stick your finger into the soil about 2 inches deep, right near the base of the plant. You don't just tap the surface here. Get your finger really in there, and if you feel any moisture, if it feels cool, damp, do not water. It's that simple. For a plant in this fragile state, you have to let the top 1 or 2 inches of soil completely dry out to the touch before you even think about watering again. The goal is to perform CPR on your plant's roots. You need to get oxygen back into that root zone. You have to let the soil dry out so the plant's underground lungs can actually breathe and recover. Depending on how wet this soil is, this could mean no water for 3, 5, or even 7 days. So be patient. Your plant might look a little bit worse before it looks better, but you have to trust the process. If your plant is in a pot, make sure that the drainage hose are not clogged. You can even gently tip that small pot on its side to help some of the excessive water run out. When you do resume watering, water it deeply but infrequently. Then leave it alone until your finger test tells you it's time to water again. Now, for prevention, which is the real cure, it's all about timing and temperature. Stop using your last frost date as your main guide for planting peppers. Instead, watch the 10-day weather forecast. Do not put your peppers in the ground until the nighttime temperatures are staying consistently, every single night, above 55 degrees Fahrenheit or 13 Celsius. Honestly, 60 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 Celsius is an even safer bet. The soil needs time to warm up, and this will not happen until the nights are mild. Planting 2 weeks later than you actually want to is so much better than planting a week too early. The plants will thank you by taking off immediately instead of stalling out for 2 or 3 weeks or even a month. So if overwatering is the final fatal blow, there's a runner-up mistake that makes the situation even worse: fertilizing a plant that's too cold. Remember how we talked about low temperatures putting your pepper plant into hibernation? When the plant is in this state, its entire metabolic system is on pause. That includes its ability to absorb and process nutrients from the soil. Plant roots are much less efficient in the cold, and the uptake of nutrients like phosphorus can be drastically reduced. Here's the mistake. A gardener sees a pale, stunted plant and thinks, man, this must be hungry. So they give it a dose of fertilizer. But a plant that's asleep can't eat. You're essentially putting a plate of food in front of someone in a coma. Not only can your plant not use the nutrients, but the unused fertilizer salts can build up in the cold, wet soil, creating a toxic environment that can burn and further damage the already stressed roots. Adding fertilizer to stressed plants can often make things even worse. So the fix here is patience. Do not try to feed a cold, stunted plant. Your only job is to correct the temperature and the moisture problems first. Wait for nighttime temperatures to warm up. Let the soil completely dry out and look for signs of new growth. Once that plant has woken up and it's actively growing again, then and only then can you resume a gentle feeding routine. Wait for the plant to wake up before you even think about offering it a meal. So let's recap. The mystery of the stunted pepper isn't so mysterious. It's a two-part crime. One part is planting in cold soil, which puts the plant into a coma. Part two, the fatal blow, is our well-meaning but misguided response: overwatering the plant that can't actually breathe. And often, at the same time, we're making things worse by trying to force feed it with fertilizer, which a cold plant cannot absorb. So the fix is simple. First, be patient and wait for that consistently warm nights above 55 degrees Fahrenheit or 13 degrees Celsius. Second, always trust the finger test. Check the soil 2 inches deep before you even think about watering again. Give those roots the oxygen that they're begging for. And third, be patient with the fertilizer. Don't feed a cold, stressed plant. Wait until it's actively growing again and the warm soil is there before you even get nutrients that it can use to thrive. Now you know the biggest mistake, how to fix that mistake, and how to avoid it forever. Don't give up on your peppers. You're just a few warm nights and a better care plan away from an amazing harvest. Your plants want to grow. You just have to learn how to let them and to be patient. Now then, I want to hear from you. It's actually how I learned about this in the first place. Drop a comment down below if you've made this mistake, or if you're battling a stunted pepper plant right now. Let's figure it out together. And if this video has given you that aha moment, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more gardening tips. And don't forget to hit that bell notification, that way you know when my next video drops. Now, get out there and save your peppers. And like always, keep it growing.